Imagine someone who looks like they are doing well from the outside. They drive a newer car, wear nice clothes, live in a decent apartment, eat at good restaurants, take weekend trips, upgrade their phone, and post the kind of life that makes everything seem stable, comfortable, and successful. Their friends assume they are winning. Their family assumes they are moving up. Even strangers online might see the image and think this person has figured money out. But behind the clean surface, the checking account is thin, the credit card balance is growing, the savings account barely moves, and every paycheck arrives already spoken for before it even lands. My name is Edwin, and welcome to The Wealth Shift. Today we are talking about the hidden cost of looking successful and why one of the most expensive financial traps is not always poverty, debt, or low income by itself, but the quiet pressure to appear further ahead than you actually are. This is not about judging anyone for wanting nice things, because comfort, beauty, pride, and self-expression are normal parts of life. The real issue is what happens when the appearance of success starts competing with the foundation of success, and when money that could create stability is redirected towards symbols that only create the feeling of progress. The difficult thing about this trap is that it does not always look reckless. It often looks normal. A slightly nicer car because you work hard. A better apartment because you want to feel grown. A wardrobe upgrade because your job or social circle seems to demand it. A vacation because you are tired and everyone else seems to be traveling. A new phone because the old one feels outdated. Each decision can appear reasonable by itself, but together they can build a financial structure where the outside image improves faster than the inside foundation. You may look more successful every year while becoming less flexible, less liquid, and more dependent on your next paycheck. This is where financial psychology becomes important because people rarely buy status only for other people. They also buy it for themselves. A nice car does not just transport someone from one place to another. It can temporarily make them feel like they are moving forward in life. A luxury-looking apartment does not just provide shelter. It can make someone feel like they have arrived. A professional wardrobe does not just cover the body. It can make someone feel respected. These feelings are real, and that is why the trap is powerful. The purchase gives emotional evidence of progress before the financial evidence has actually been built. The problem is that the emotional reward arrives immediately, while the financial cost spreads quietly over time. A purchase that feels good for one weekend may create payments that last for months. A car upgrade that feels like a milestone may create a fixed payment, higher insurance, higher registration costs, more expensive repairs, and less room to save. A lifestyle upgrade may not feel dangerous on the day you choose it, because the monthly cost can appear manageable. But money rarely fails because of one line item. It usually becomes strained when too many commitments stack on top of each other and remove the space between income and obligation. The math is simple, but the consequences are easy to underestimate. Suppose someone earns $4,000 a month after taxes. If rent takes $1,600, a car payment and insurance take $700, food takes $600, student loans or credit cards take $400, phone and subscriptions take $200, and utilities, fuel, and basic costs take another $400. There may only be $100 left before anything unexpected happens. On paper, this person may not look broke. They may have a decent income and a lifestyle that seems middle class. But financially, they are operating with almost no margin. And margin is what separates inconvenience from crisis. Now imagine that same person wants to save $10,000, invest for the long term, build an emergency fund, or pay down debt faster. The goal is not impossible because they lack intelligence. It is difficult because their lifestyle has already assigned most of their income to maintaining an image of stability. The visible life is expensive to keep running. The car must be paid for. The apartment must be maintained. The subscriptions renew automatically. The social invitations keep coming. The clothes need replacing. The credit card minimums continue. The financial system does not care whether the original choices were understandable. It only responds to cash flow.
This is why looking successful can become more expensive than being financially stable. Stability often looks boring from the outside. It may look like driving an older, reliable car, living below what you technically qualify for, wearing simple clothes, saying no to some events, delaying upgrades, and allowing money to sit quietly in savings or investments where nobody can see it. That kind of progress does not always produce social attention. It does not create the same instant identity signal. But it builds something deeper: options, resilience, and time. Looking successful is often visible immediately, while becoming stable is usually invisible until a problem appears. There is an old economic idea behind this called conspicuous consumption, which describes spending that signals status to others. The concept is not new. Throughout history, people have used clothing, homes, jewelry, ceremonies, vehicles, and public displays to show rank, wealth, and belonging. In earlier societies, visible status could help someone gain respect, marriage prospects, business trust, or social access. In modern life, the symbols have changed, but the pressure remains. The phone, the car, the apartment, the vacation, the restaurant, the watch, the gym, the neighborhood, and even the way someone posts online can all become signals. The danger is that signals can be financed before the substance exists. The credit system makes this especially powerful because it allows people to rent the appearance of progress. A person can drive a car that suggests wealth while having no emergency fund. They can furnish an apartment beautifully while carrying high-interest debt. They can travel on a credit card and pay for the memory long after the trip is over. Again, this does not mean every finance purchase is wrong, and it does not mean people should never enjoy life. It means that access to credit can blur the difference between affordability and approval. Being approved for a payment is not the same thing as being able to absorb that payment without weakening the rest of your financial life. The hidden cost is not only money, it is also stress. When the image of success becomes expensive, a person may feel trapped inside the version of themselves they created. They may not want to downgrade because it feels like failure. They may not want to sell the car because people will ask questions. They may not want to move to a cheaper place because it feels like going backward. They may not want to admit that the lifestyle is heavy because everyone seems to admire it. This emotional lock-in can be more powerful than the financial numbers. The person is not only paying for things, they are paying to avoid the discomfort of appearing less successful. This is where behavioral economics helps explain the trap. Humans are not neutral calculators. We compare ourselves to reference groups. We adjust quickly to upgrades. We feel losses more intensely than gains. Once a lifestyle becomes normal, reducing it can feel painful even if the old lifestyle used to be perfectly acceptable. This is called adaptation. The first month in a nicer apartment may feel exciting, but after a while, it becomes the baseline. The first few weeks with a new car may feel rewarding, but eventually it becomes normal transportation. The brain absorbs the upgrade, but the payment remains. That is one of the quietest financial problems in modern life. Pleasure adapts faster than debt disappears. Social comparison adds another layer. Most people do not compare their full financial reality to another person's full financial reality. They compare their private struggle to someone else's public highlight. You see the vacation, not the balance. You see the car, not the loan terms. You see the restaurant, not the credit card statement. You see the apartment, not the anxiety before rent is due. And because everyone is seeing partial information, entire social groups can accidentally pressure each other into spending more than they are comfortable with. No one has to say, go into debt. The pressure is communicated through normal behavior. The math of this pressure becomes especially damaging when the money used to look successful could have been used to buy freedom from future stress. For example, an extra $300 a month directed toward appearances may not seem life-changing. It might be a car upgrade, frequent dining out, clothing, subscriptions, or a combination of small lifestyle choices. But $300 a month is $3,600 a year. Over 5 years, before considering any interest or investment return, that is $18,000. The question is not whether the spending is morally wrong. The question is what that money could have done if it had been assigned to stability, debt reduction, emergency savings, or long-term investing instead. This is the real cost of status spending, opportunity cost. Every dollar can only do one job at a time. If it is being used to impress, comfort, signal, or maintain an image, it cannot simultaneously reduce debt, protect against emergencies, build savings, or invest for the future. The trade-off is often hidden because the thing you bought is visible, while the alternative is invisible. You can see the new car. You cannot see the emergency that never became a crisis because you had savings. You can see the expensive dinner. You cannot see the interest you avoided by paying down debt sooner. You can see the upgraded apartment. You cannot see the years of financial flexibility that might have been created by keeping housing costs lower. This does not mean the answer is to reject all visible success. That would be unrealistic and unnecessary. Money is also for living. The healthier question is whether your visible life is growing at the same pace as your financial foundation, or whether your image is outrunning your base. A strong financial base usually includes some emergency savings, manageable debt, enough margin between income and expenses, and a plan for future goals. Without that base, lifestyle upgrades can become fragile. They may look like progress, but they increase the amount of income required just to stay in place. One reason this trap is common is that modern success is often measured externally. People ask what car you drive, where you live, what you do for work, where you traveled, what you bought, and what your life looks like. Fewer people ask how much margin you have, whether you sleep peacefully, whether you can handle a surprise expense, whether your debt is manageable, or whether your future self is being protected. The scoreboard is incomplete, so people optimize for the numbers others can see while neglecting the numbers that actually shape their choices. The identity shift begins when a person separates being respected from being expensive. You can be disciplined without looking deprived. You can be ambitious without upgrading everything immediately. You can enjoy nice things without allowing them to define your financial identity. You can choose a simpler version of success that gives you more room to breathe. This shift is not always easy, because it may require tolerating the feeling that you could afford something while choosing not to buy it. That is a strange but important financial skill. Many people think wealth building begins when you cannot afford something and say no. But a deeper stage begins when you can technically afford something and still say no, because the bigger system matters more. A practical way to think about this is to divide purchases into 3 categories: things that support your life, things that improve your life, and things that mainly perform your life for other people. The first category includes necessities and tools. The second includes meaningful comfort, health, learning, relationships, and experiences that genuinely matter to you. The third category is where the hidden cost often lives. These are purchases that feel urgent mostly because of comparison, insecurity, pressure, or the desire to be seen a certain way. The goal is not to eliminate every status signal because humans are social. The goal is to notice when the signal is becoming more important than the substance. Another useful question is whether a purchase increases your freedom or increases your fixed pressure. Some spending gives you time, health, skills, or stability. Other spending creates monthly obligations that narrow your choices. A higher fixed lifestyle can make it harder to change jobs, start over, take a risk, move, invest, rest, or handle uncertainty. This is why two people with the same income can experience completely different financial lives. One may look quieter but have options. The other may look impressive but feel trapped. Income matters, but the structure attached to that income matters just as much. There is also a subtle emotional benefit to choosing stability over appearance. Your life becomes less dependent on being validated. When you stop needing every purchase to prove that you're doing well, you can make quieter decisions. You can buy what fits your real priorities instead of what fits a performance. You can let some money remain unseen. You can allow progress to be private. That private progress may not impress people immediately, but it changes how you respond to problems. It gives you the ability to pause, think, compare, negotiate, and recover. The hidden cost of looking successful is that it can delay the moment when you actually feel secure. It can keep you earning more but needing more, upgrading more but saving less, appearing calm but feeling pressured. It can make your life look larger while your choices become smaller. And because the trap is socially rewarded, it can continue for years before the person realizes that they have been building a lifestyle that requires constant income just to avoid falling behind. So the question is not whether you should own nice things, live well, or enjoy your money. The better question is whether your lifestyle is making you stronger or more fragile. Does it give you room or does it remove room? Does it reflect your values or does it manage other people's perception? Does it help your future self or does it borrow from that future self to create a better image today? These questions are not meant to create guilt. They are meant to create clarity. The quiet truth is that real financial progress often looks unimpressive in the beginning. It may look like keeping the older car, choosing the simpler apartment, repeating outfits, cooking more often, skipping some social spending, and putting money into accounts that no one applauds. But underneath that quiet life, something important is happening. The gap between income and obligation begins to widen. The emergency fund begins to grow. The debt balance begins to shrink. The future becomes less dependent on luck. And slowly, the person stops needing to look successful because they are building something more useful than an image. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, accountant, attorney, or tax professional. Nothing in this video should be taken as personal financial advice. Everyone's financial situation is different, so always do your own research and consider speaking with a qualified financial professional before making decisions about investing, debt, taxes, credit, or retirement accounts. If this helped you think differently about money, subscribe to The Wealth Shift and comment below with one status expense you think people underestimate.